It's not a question as such. Just a comment. I really just something that resonated with me was you're sort of learning your way through and discovering your values through the process of going through the experience of being a teacher and investigating your practice. It just reminded me something we talked about in the breakout room earlier. When I started teaching as a newly qualified teacher, I followed the training that I was given almost unquestioningly because I didn't know any differently. But as I developed my own set of knowledge and my understanding, that led me to start, to look above the parapet and look around a bit more and question things. And I gradually developed that path. So I just recognized something in that. And thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I suppose even reflecting on my own like teaching placement, I'm a completely different teacher then as I am now. Even to last year, I think that you learn every year something that's you can't be taught it as such.
Great. Okay, any more questions from anybody?
I'll just quickly mention, Ciara, one of the things that struck me about your last question about the values and how you know. In London, I was teaching science and the inspector gave me one of the first video cameras in London and I turned it on myself and I got a dreadful shock. I went home that night absolutely embarrassed because I thought I got inquiry learning going, but the video showed that I not only hadn't, I was giving the kids the questions. So when you talked about the values and how you know, I do find that digital visual data very, very helpful when it comes to seeing, what are the values that I'm expressing? And you may do the same because I really liked your presentation with its focus on values. Yeah.
Thank you, Jack.
Okay.
I actually remember when we were in first year of college, we did that micro teaching.
Yeah.
And looking back, it wasn't so bad watching yourself. It was listening to my voice. I was like, you're just a complete, you think, I don't know, I think I sound a lot different than when I actually sound when you're listening to it. So yeah, it's a big eye opener when you review yourself and your own teaching, I suppose. Thanks, Jack.
Okay.
Sorry, Maureen, if there's time for another question, there's one in the chat there from Martin who asks, do you think your own personality has impacted your practice and your line of further study?
Yeah, definitely I do. So my personality, and more so I suppose the students' personality as well, like they teach me things that I like every day, I suppose, and the reflections and that I get from them. So it curves my study, I suppose.
Right.
Thanks, Martin.
I think there's another question. Let's see, can I find it now? Oh yes, from Kelly, I think. Is there any way we can integrate this into our class time? Teaching can be such, let's see, can I find the rest of it? Teaching can be such a big struggle, especially in secondary school. Any ideas would be great.
Yeah, perfect. So yes, I'm completely with you with the time constraints, especially with the maths. So leaving cert higher level maths in Ireland for anyone who's not teaching here, it's just a massive course and there's not as much time to do it. So my research is on first year students. So I suppose I did it with them because I wasn't under such time pressure, and the games that I aligned are directly aligned with the course curriculum. So it did take quite some time to make them, but now I have them forever and the whole school uses them. The students use them to study as well, throughout the years. So yes, it was very time consuming to make the games in the first place. But once they are made, it's a great tool to have. And some days, I might bring the class to the computer room and they make the games themselves, which I think really shows the learning because they have to make the question and the answer and make sure the answer is the right one. So you can use them sometimes as well.
That's great, Ciara. Thank you. Emer, you have a question. Might be our last question.
Perfect.
Hi. It's less a question and again more of a comment, and to say thanks so much for your presentation and the focus on values, I think it's very often very under-researched, particularly in relation to action research. My research would tend to be in participatory action learning, action research. And usually with communities of practice, they're trying to implement something and they feel quite exercised about it being important. And for me, the ability to articulate their attitudes, values and beliefs at the start, other than being able to see how it progresses through their professional learning, is to exercise them in advance of identifying problems and solving problems, looking at change and conflict management. So if they really can articulate what their values are in relation to whatever the domain is and become quite exercised, their critical motivation to want to enact change becomes much more powerful. So often it's looked at as something that's just, are you developing as you learn in relation to your values, but the power of it to initiate change is really powerful. So I love seeing it, any research being done into values. So thanks so much for that.
Thanks, Emer, and thanks for your comment there.